And record. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we will be learning about short interest. We will be learning about AMC. We'll be learning about the AMC current company. We'll be learning the biggest part of this video today is, are you a shill if you tell somebody who has AMC stock to sell it for AMC options? Is that the definition of a shill? And I want to do some math for you guys, and then I want to hear your guys' opinion after I do the math, and you guys tell me, am I a shill based on the math, okay? So, I'm excited for this part. I'll go ahead and dab after I do this real quick. So it looks like there might be some people in the channel from trades here right now. So before I go over the short interest, I'm going to go over the AMC dilution real quick, just because the part that he shared when I went over this page was just like the one little rant part. But like there's a lot going on here. So right now, AMC has $10 billion in debt, and everyone's like, ooh, AMC's going bankrupt, $10 billion. COVID's making them go bankrupt. They can't keep up with their payments. Well, check this out. They've been raising money all through COVID. The government came out with all their stimulus garbage. So after all said and done, they got $10 billion of debt left today. So this is like after earnings call. That was a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. They got $10 billion in debt right now left over after they just paid some off. They got $1.2 billion in the cash. They have 63 million shares that have been authorized but have not been used. So when Trey told you guys that when they take the 500 million shares, they don't got to issue them right away, and you're really just giving them the ammo to issue it if they need it. Like, again, they already have 63 million shares, which is $630 million. So I'd rather see them spend the money they have before they ask us for more money, when right now we own the company. And right now I just feel like everything they're saying is all about us owning less of the company, and it makes me uncomfortable. And I can't justify it with the math. So let's take a deeper dive into the 10 billion. There is an article. Can somebody go to my Discord and post that article that I found that talks about the debt of AMC and when it's all due? But basically, it said that 1 billion of it's due in the next 2 years, 2 billion of it's due in the next 3 years, and 7 billion of it's due in the next 5 years. So this was like 2024, this was 2026, and then this is just before 2024. It didn't really say a timeline. And so what I'm getting at is right now they got the 630 million sitting in the reserves. They got the 1.2 billion in the bank. They could take the 1.2 billion in the bank, pay off their next 2 years of debt right now. And if COVID lasted for another 2 years, they wouldn't have to make one more payment until 2024. They have enough cash to pay out all their debt till 2024. So here's the other thing. Their revenue in 2018 was $5 billion. And if you look at the if you look at the net profit, you're looking at somewhere between 500 million to 650 million on their best year. I like to base a company off their best year, not their worst year, because I don't think COVID is here to stay. I think COVID and lockdowns and all that is going away the second inflation comes. I don't think the people will accept listening to their government like they have in the past just because of inflation. When people can't afford a loaf of bread, people are going to go, like, they're going to be very, very upset with their government. And all, like, it's all due to the money printing and the promise of them and their perfect solutions that never pan out. So check this out. If you're owning AMC right now, you got $1.2 billion in the bank. You make $600 million a year. So in the next 2 years, you're going to make another $1.2 billion. So now you got $2.5 billion plus your $600 million. You have $3.1 billion in the bank right now in the next 2 years, and all you owe of that is $1 billion. So after you pay your $1 billion, you still have $2 billion in the bank. That's due in the next 12 months. Okay. But now I make another $600 million. So after I pay off my 3 years of debt, I still have $600 million in the bank. And now I got to worry about my $7 billion of debt. $1 billion of this dollars of debt is convertible. But if you think that they come out of COVID, they pay off this $3 billion of debt, they're making $600 million a year or more every single year. And we own 88% of the company. Only one of two things can happen at 2026. Either we give them more shares and they ask for more shares because like this debt is coming up and nobody's willing to refinance them, so we have to refinance them, or they're projected to pay off 100% of their debt in the next 5 years, which is a great business. Anybody would love to have that business, and they easily get refinanced and they pay $500 million a year, and they're netting eventually $500 million a year because we get our revenue up to $1 billion a year in the next 5 years. Like, come on, people. AMC is a cash-heavy, rich company. Cash-heavy, rich company. So right now, I want to explain to you guys there's total of 450 million shares in the market at $10 a price. That's $4.5 billion market cap at a PE ratio of 6.9. I'm going to go over this again when I go over Jordan Belfort's video, but at a PE ratio of 6.9, that means the market of AMC is worth 7 times more than the market of than what they made, then they're $600 million, right? So they're basically valued 6 to 7 times more than what their best year's earnings was in 2018. Okay. AMC is the largest movie theater chain in the world, and especially in the United States. And AMC, like if you look at all the other industries, when there's a largest thing of something, like if you look at the driving around, so you got Uber and then you got Lyft, right? Uber and Lyft are both massive companies, but Uber is like 10 times the size of Lyft. So even though the second one that comes along is still pretty great, it never really gets to the size of the first one. And so if you look at Cinemark stock price, it's actually PE ratio is the exact same as AMC. And so everyone's saying that because Cinemark is basically like half the size of AMC, maybe a little bit larger than that, and their stock price is only at $20, then AMC, like they're basically saying that stock price is at $20, so AMC could go up is one argument that I've heard, but that's not a good argument because it's all about number of shares versus stock price and total market cap and then PE ratio. But if you look at it, like right now, AMC and Cinemark are priced evenly, and I think that AMC should have a hedge on that 100%. And so maybe Cinemark's priced low too, because Cinemark was priced much higher in the past than it is right now. But it has also had a nice bounce up, a better bounce than AMC, it looks like, honestly. So when they say synthetic shares, guys, the synthetic shares is the number of call option contracts greater than the number of put option contracts, because basically every put option contract they have, they can cancel out one of their call option contracts. And so it kind of balances each other out. Not perfectly, but it's all depending on how much they got to pay for a contract and all these different things. But like, if they're doing what I would do, like, I mean, there's 1,000 ways to hedge in the market. So the way that I see synthetic shares is it only comes from options. And so options, like I'll explain the OTC and the dark pools later. That's different than synthetic shares. Those are real shares, but they're traded on a dark pool. They hurt the price. But like basically what Citadel's doing is they're trading 1 billion shares of AMC over 3 million different trades in a month period. And in that period, they're collecting 200 million shares of AMC. And then once AMC's gotten nice and high and a little bit bloated, like when they let AMC go to $15 or whatever, they take that 200 million shares and they just smash the market, and it crushes us all the way back down to $9. And they try to do this over and over again, trying to get people to paper hand. But anyways, let's go back to synthetic shares. The synthetic shares are basically the number of call option contracts greater than put option contracts. And for every option contract, there's 100 synthetic shares created. And if it crashes, you can squeeze either the puts or the calls. But because we're all bullish on this channel, we're only looking at call synthetic shares. And because they can hedge against the calls with the puts, we're going to go ahead and assume that they have. And so we're only going to count the number of synthetic shares as the number of call option contracts greater than the number of put option contracts, which ends up leaving us with 50 million contracts, which ends up, because the float of the retail volume or of shares is 396 million shares, it ends up meaning that there is a 12% short interest on AMC by my calculation, because we don't use the 54 million that institutional investors have. So this is like the CEO and stuff. We don't use this number when calculating the short interest. We only use the number of retail shares available. And so 50 million into 396 million gives you 12. Oh, sorry, 50 million into 396 million does not give you 12%. It gives you, I guess I didn't do that math. It gives you, it'll be this divided by this. Oh, it is 12% also. Interesting. Okay, guys, so that's cool. And then this part right here is actually something different. So this is showing you right now that retail owns 396 million of the 450 million, which is 88% of the company. Institutions own 12%, which is 54 million. Oh, that makes sense. 12%, 12%. And because 54 million is basically 50 million. They're basically the same number of synthetic shares as almost the same number of institutional shares owned. And then the last thing that I'll go over is if we add the 500 million shares for 1 penny a piece, they now have 563 million shares that they could bring into the case, which would be about $5.6 billion. Retail would own 396 million. The old institution is this. The sum of all the shares is $1 billion, ends up leaving retail at 39% ownership and institutional at 61% ownership. So if we, I mean, it's just an obvious no-brainer. AMC is financially totally okay right now. If they need money to buy Cinemark, tell us how much they need, and then let us do the math and make sure it's right, and let us vote on it. But we own 88% of the company. We're not giving it up. I just felt like I had to go over that whole thing one time real quick. The next thing that I'm going to go over is the short interest. Now, the main part of this video, should we, who are we? Like, who are we to tell people that it might be a good idea to close out some stock positions for some option positions? Like, that's a very bullish statement to make. If you want to see the financial reason as to why you should do it, go watch my other 3 videos. The third one specifically will show you exactly how much the options in AMC are projected to make, and it's pretty accurate. This part right here, though, this is something that's a little bit different, and I'm going to go over it slowly, okay? So let me make the numbers easier to read for you. All right, guys, let's go ahead and check this out real quick. All right, so this is the market cap. This is the number of total shares. This is the synthetic shares from the call options. This is like basically the synthetic shares that Citadel has to create in order to bet the opposite side of our option contract. And then this is the number of call option contracts greater than puts. So there's basically 500,000 call option contracts on AMC greater than the number of puts, roughly. And then obviously retail owns 396 million. 396 million contracts. And in that 12%, 12.62% is what I calculate as the short interest currently. Okay. So retail owns 88%, institutional owns 12%. We just went over that. Now, I just asked a question in this Excel. If we convince people to close 100 million contracts on AMC and close out $1 billion out right now, I figure the price will drop anywhere from $7.50 to probably $6. Okay. Like a massive 30 to 40% price drop. Okay. But check this out. So I assume $7.50 in this example. So AMC stock is currently at 10. It drops to $7.50. If the retail float drops to 296 million, and now the total number of shares is 350 million instead of 450 million, and we only own 296 million instead of 396 million. Let me make sure I got this number right. My 296 million of a total of 350 million is 84% of the ownership. So I'm dropping my retail ownership down to 5%, down to 84%. The institutional ownership goes up to 15.5, 16%. The number of option contracts go up to 4,363,636 contracts. The number of synthetic shares becomes 436,363,636. The short interest becomes 147%. Guys, GME popped, and everybody, all of retail invested in GME, not just us diamond handlers. Everybody invested because the short interest was 147%. If you get the short interest to 140%, you are literally sending up the bat signal in the sky to the entire world that there is no better short squeeze in the world than AMC. When they're saying AMC is diluted, what they're trying to tell you is that the short interest can't get to 140%. Now, I actually already know that the short interest is about net number of contracts. It's not about percent short interest, because like GME only has 70 million shares, while AMC has 500 million shares, but AMC is not diluted. And so what's actually going to happen is if we do this and we get AMC to 147% share or short interest while we have 10 times the number of shares, this squeeze is going to be 10 times the squeeze of what GameStop would have been had they not halted GameStop when GameStop had the 140% short interest. Ladies and gentlemen, like if you're a retail and you're like, I'm so tired of waiting. I am so tired of reading this half DD on Reddit all day long, telling me what catalysts are going to make me rich finally someday, one day. Well, Godpill's got the answers, ladies and gentlemen. If we do this first, if we can cash out 100 million shares and put it all on the 2023 strike of $40 strike of AMC, which will make 18 times in your money when AMC makes it the $40 strike, then this will be your new numbers. And then all of retail, all of the world, all of the institutions will come for the squeeze, and we will cash out, and then we'll go squeeze our own stock. We're going to make billions of dollars. If you watch the videos, you'll see how we make billions of dollars on those. And then when we make billions of dollars on those, we freaking go gun the GME and AMC, and we send those stocks to hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars of shares, because I put in my own $500 million into GME market orders. And then guess what? When the market's crashing because of inflation, everyone comes running to us because we're the only thing in the last 30 days since I started investing in GameStop and AMC after the post squeeze that is continually and steadily rising. As inflation rises and eats everything else that is also kind of rising, AMC and GME is the only thing rising faster than inflation. That is what I'm predicting. This is my plan. This is how we do it. This is how we stop asking for whales to come save us. And all we got to do is have the retail listen to this message, close out 100 million shares, put it onto the open interest in 2023 or 2022 or somewhere where it's really, really far out. So we got some time for everyone to do it. Because if we start with 10 million shares, then we got to get to 20 million. Like it's going to take a process, right? It might take us 30 days to do it. It trays on board. But this is the plan, guys. This is how we win. This is how, with our own money, without bringing in any more investors, retail can move their money, set up the bat signal, and everybody else will come flooding, no matter what. If you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come. Whew! I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think I'm about done. I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions. If you guys got any questions, I'll answer them now. Otherwise, I'm going to close out this video and upload it. Let's see here. We got 61 viewers in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Anybody like those wrinkles in their brain? Did anybody learn anything just now? Yes, my sales are in the description, guys. If I ever don't have the updated version in the description, you're going to have to let me know. Guys. Okay, so the only thing that I'm really seeing as far as questions go is about Jordan Belfort. So I'm going to close out this video, this recording, and then I'm going to do another recording on the whole Jordan Belfort. I'm going to review the whole Jordan Belfort thing. But what you guys got to understand is he was saying that AMC and GME are overvalued. Guess what, guys? Tesla is at 1,000 times earnings right now. GME's at 13 times their earnings. AMC's at 7 times earnings. Tesla's at 1,000 times earnings. Tesla did a $30 billion in revenue last year. They made $700 million, and their market cap right now is $700 billion. They are 1,000 times their market cap right now. Jordan Belfort's a moron. All right, guys, I'm going to close out this video if there's no questions, and then I will start the next one. Let's see. I also gain extra wrinkles every time I watch. Will I be able to buy a house in the Cali with $30, $40 calls? Richard Trejo, you'll definitely have enough for a down payment. No doubt about that. But if you hold it like, bro, if you follow my whole plan, you got to watch all of my videos, follow my whole plan, and you'll be able to buy Disneyland, bro. You'll be able to buy Disney, the company, like straight up. Like follow the plan, go all in, do the honor code, and like we're all making billions of dollars as long as you follow the whole plan. Because we're going to squeeze and then we're going to squeeze again. Like, and that's not counting AMC. AMC is the squeeze because of the apes. We owe the apes because of the squeeze on AMC. We couldn't have done it without them. But then the next company we squeeze is for us. The next company we squeeze after that is for us. And then after we got $250 billion in our bank accounts, then we're going to freaking gun the AMC and GME stock. All right, guys. I'm going to close out this video.